Okay, so let's talk about this question. So we are given a string S and we need to find the length of the longest substring with all the distinct characters, right? So what this question means is that we need to find one such substring which has all the characters in that substring as distinct, right? There is no repeating character, and we need to find the longest such a substring, right? So there can be multiple strings which will have all the characters as distinct. For example, even A is one such string, just the single letter A. AB is one such string, but the length is 2, right? We might find some other substring of longer length, right? So we need to find the longest such substring, and yeah, it should have all the characters as distinct. So now maybe you can pause this video and think about it for a minute, and then you can just take a look at the solution. So what we can do is, to solve this problem, we can maintain a window, right? And when I say a window, we can maintain 2 pointers, a start pointer and an end pointer, right? And initially both the start and the end pointer will be over here at A, right? And then, one by one, we will keep incrementing the end pointer, and we will keep incrementing the end pointer till we encounter a repeating character. And how will we figure out whether that particular character is repeating or not? We will maintain a hash map, right? So we will maintain a hash map, and every character that we encounter, we will keep an entry of that particular character in that particular hash map, and the key will be the character itself, and the value will be the index of that particular character, right? And the moment we encounter a repeating character which is already present in the hash map, we will reinitialize our starting index as one greater than the last index of that particular repeating character, right? So for example, right now I'm over here, the start and the end position, then, and my length of the longest substring is 1, right, which is just one single character. Then I will just increment my end pointer. I will go to B. I will just check if B is already present in the hash map. It is not. So I will just increment the length of the longest substring as 2, and I will make an entry of B in the hash map with the index as 1, right? Then I will come to A. Now I will again check whether A is already present in the hash map or not. It is present, right? So now I cannot go forward, with this particular string. What I'll do is I will, reinitialize the starting index to 1 greater than the previous index of A. So now my starting index will be over here, right? Now this is the string that I have. Now I will go to this particular position C, right? Is C already present in the hash map? It is not. So I will make an entry of C in the hash map, and I will increment my length to 2, right? Then again, I will go to C. Is C present already? Yes, it is. So now my starting index will be 1 greater than the previous index of C, which is this one, right? So now my start and the end is over here. So this way I will just keep going, and I will keep calculating the maximum length at any point in time, right? So whatever length I have, I will just see whether I have already like encountered a greater length than this current one, or is this the current maximum length, right? So that I can do with a normal max function, right? So maybe what we can do is I can walk you through the code of this, and then you will get a better understanding, right? Okay, so uh, let's write our code in this particular function. So what I'll do is, to start with, I'll just declare a variable st which will act as my starting pointer. I will initialize it to 0. I will declare another variable l. I will declare that also to 0, sorry, to 1. And this will be the length of my current ongoing string, right? So I will just initialize it to 1. And then I will declare another variable called max length, mxlen, and this will have the maximum length of, a string with all the distinct characters at any point in time, right? For now, to start with, I will also initialize this one to 1, right? Then I will declare a hash map, and I will make an entry of the first character of the string already into this, right? So the key will be the character itself, and the value will be the index, which will be 0, right? And then I will declare another variable n, which will hold the length of this particular input string, right? Now what I will do is I will run a for loop over this particular entire string, right? Right? And now this I pointer inside of my for loop will act as my end pointer, right? Why? Because anyways, my end pointer is supposed to move in sequence on all the characters, and that's why I can very well use this for loop to actually mimic my end pointer. I can also declare an pointer over here and initialize it to 0 to start with, but that will be one and the same thing, right? I mean, uh, you can do it either ways. You can use a while loop with a end pointer over here, or you can use just a starting pointer and then use the end pointer using a for loop. right? So it's one all the same thing. And since I have already initialized the first character of the string in this particular hash map, and I've also initialized the length as 1, I will start from the first index instead of 0, right? Because I've already like made an entry of the first 0th index in this particular hash map, right? Now what I will do is I will check whether my current character, right, is present in the hash map or not, right? And also I will check one more thing. If it is present, if this particular current character is present in the hash map, whether the last index which is present in the hash map for this particular character is greater than my starting index or not, right? And why do I have to check this? Because if the last occurrence of this particular current current character in the hash map is before my current starting point, then this will be considered outside my ongoing string, right? It won't be included, it won't be a part of my current string. And I'm only interested in my current string right now. I just need to figure out whether all the characters in my ongoing current string are distinct or not. If there is some character which has occurred before the starting point, before this particular string actually began, then I'm not worried about it, right? I'm not bothered about it. So that's why I also have to check whether if it is present at all in the hash map, the current character, it should also be present after the starting pointer of my current string. So now if it is already present, then what I will do is I will reinitialize my starting pointer to 1 greater than the last occurrence of the current character, right? Which will be nothing but the value of this particular character in the hash map currently, and I will just increment it by 1 so that now I start from the next index, right? After that particular index where I got a repeating character, right? So I will just increment it by 1, and then I will also update the value of this particular character in my hash map to the current index, right? And what I'll do is I'll just recalculate the length of the string, which will be nothing but L equals to I minus S T plus 1, right? And why would it be I minus st plus 1? Because it will be I will be the current index, st is my starting point, and then plus 1, right? That's how you calculate the length between any given 2 points, right? So that's going to be my new length. And then now if I found this particular character in my hash map, this is what I'm going to do. But what if I don't find, right, the current character in my hash map already? I will write an else condition for that, and I will just simply increment my length to by 1, right? I will move to the next character because I haven't seen this particular character ever before in this particular string. So I can just include it, and I will just increment my length by 1, and I will also make a fresh new entry of this newly found character in my hash map, right? And I will just make the value as the current index, which is I, right? And finally, what I'll do is after checking both of these conditions, I will update my max len variable to maximum of the max len itself and the current length, right? So if my current length happens to get greater than get more than what I already have in the max len variable, I will just reinitialize my max len to this current length, right? And finally I will just return, after like iterating over all the characters, I will just return the max len, right? So this is the entire code, entire implementation of this problem. We will also test this maybe, by calling this particular function over one test case, right? And maybe what we can do is we can reuse the same test case that we actually saw while defining this particular problem, right? So this is that particular sample string. Now, if you see over here in this string, the longest substring with all the characters as distinct is this one, A, B, C, D, E. There will be no other string which will have all the distinct characters and whose length will be more than this particular string. And so my output should be 5, right? The length of this particular substring is 5. So if I run this, I should get 5. So let's see. Okay, let me run it again. Yeah, so if you see, we got 5, right? So this is about the solution of this particular problem. Thank you.